Actually, all of you guys got me into education. First, it was Zoe because we were doing after school stuff together.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm leaving education. I'm gonna go sell solar panels door to door.
When he told me he was gonna do that,
I was like, I'm gonna be making a lot of money. I thought I was gonna make 6 figures in the summer.
He was excited about it.
I'm an easy scam.
I was trying to tell him. I said, Matt, it's not gonna be that good. No, I got it. I'm like, all right, Matt. I don't.
Yeah, I found a
I
good.
got this.
He was miserable.
Yeah. He's like, I got this.
Yeah.
I think you sold one real fast. He thought it was gonna be like that forever.
I did, and
Yeah.
I got Rishi Arya into it too. And he was walking around, and then like another one of our friends that's a comic, and he was just like sweating. He wasn't selling any either, and I was like, we just have to keep going.
I just picture you gotta have grit. You gotta keep going.
I did that for like a year, and I made some good money, but it was
You sold
torture.
alarms.
Yeah, I sold home security systems, and I would knock on people's doors and just try to sell them home security systems, and I would lie about it. I like it was a break-in down the street. And I think you need to get home security, and they would get it just because I said that.
Yeah, dude, I've met a
lie.
lot of people who sell alarms, which is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I feel like any job that you're not totally in love with is going to be hard, but door-to-door sales has to be.
That's cold sales. That's like cold. That's like cold calling.
It really is. It has to be.
You gotta go to somebody's door.
Yeah,
and people don't like
and justify yourself being there.
They gotta put down what they doing. They in their drawers. They
Even
gotta
when
put
it's-
clothes on.
Even if you interrupt me doing nothing,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be upset.
Yeah.
Dude, and I was shadowing the guy who was like, he had just had so much, like he would like push so hard, and they'd be like, "It's the game." He's like, "Well, you can tape the game and go back and watch the stats." Like
He would
is
say
not
that?
gonna. Yeah, he would not leave the doorstep. And I remember I tried to do that, and someone because he was like saying because it was Sunrun, the name of the solar company. It's
Okay.
called Sunrun. They sell that inside Costco. So he started wearing a Costco shirt. And he'd be like, yeah, we're with Costco. And like I didn't really put 2 and 2 together. So at the time I was just like, yeah, I was like, we're with Costco. And I started saying that and people would be like, you work for Costco? It's like, when did Costco start knocking on people's doors? And I was like, it's Sunrun. It's in Costco. And it's like, so we are partnered with Costco. And like, I remember one lady just called me on my BS and she goes, I go to Costco all the time. She goes, you do not work for Costco. Costco does not go and knock on people's doors.
Gotcha.
And then like, she was one of those crazy women, like bird's nest hair lady.
Yeah.
And she like, as I was like, okay, I got it. And as I started walking off her driveway, she was following me near the end of her driveway being like, never come back here again. I was like, okay,
Let me,
I'm going to knock on the wrong person
Costco
store and
for
get
you.
a bullet in the chest.
that happened to one of my friends, right? One of my friends had a friend that sold the same thing, the solar thing, knocked on someone's door. The guy happened to be a cop. And he thought the guy was trying to like, knew he was a cop and trying to set him up. He invited him in the house, right? And said, talk. Pulled his gun out. Was like, yo, sit down right now. Get on your knees right now. Why are you at my house right now? Put a gun to his head and everything.
Bro.
Made him get on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Why are you at my door? Why are you knocking at my door? What is wrong with you? What do you want from me? And scared the living crap out this guy. He had to put a gun to his head.
Dude, and he's
Put
like,
a
I just want to
gun.
extend your membership at Sam's Club.
He said,
Like,
who are you? Who are you? I said, I'm trying to sell you solar panel.
Your life
That's
is
it.
solar panels.
Yeah, and it was the worst thing in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Dude,
Yeah,
when I
you know.
hear this, it makes me realize, be like, it's not so bad teaching middle schoolers. Like,
absolutely
getting a gun pulled on my head, selling solar panels.
Yeah,
Like, that's
because
wild.
you invaded somebody's privacy, knocking on their door. Some people take that like you invaded my privacy.
Well, you're going to there. That's why people have road rage, because it's kind of like you're driving your living room down the freeway and somebody's like, your house is getting close to my house. It's like, that's why people start screaming. It's like, he's getting close.
Oh shit, my bad, y'all.
You know? But Chris here is one of the people who also got me into education. Dude, because the subbing thing, because I was talking to you about it. Both of you guys, both Chris's. But like when you got into like how did you even get into subbing? Were you just like, this is a good comic job, I have like flexibility?
It was a time, man, where it was like kind of in COVID / towards the end of COVID. You know, I got that group home I work at, and I'm on call there.
What do you do at the group home? Because that's probably kind of like teaching too, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Except I'm not teaching nothing. It's like I'm on call now, but it's kind of like it's really just supervision. So it's a placement.
It's like teaching.
It's a placement. It's kind of like a halfway house for kids who get out of the juvenile hall. It's
So
for
like
kids,
teaching.
It's for probation kids and DCFS kids.
Ah,
So
I see.
I'm really just supervising them and being like
A big brother.
a kind of counseling therapeutic presence when they need it.
Like a big brother almost,
Like,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Except they don't respect me as such, but yeah.
Are they ever like? Are you ever like,
Yeah.
hey, you need to go like brush your teeth, and they're like, shut up.
Leave me
Something
alone.
like that's the least of it.
That's the least of it. Yeah.
Yeah, y'all keep it PG on this, right?
You keep it PG-13, right?
I just say stay away from anything sexual, violent, and we
And
try
curse
not to
words.
swear.
Okay,
Yeah. Because our students watch this.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Oh,
They actually do watch it.
Yeah,
Got
they're
it.
like they start referencing
Okay,
it.
so I can't-
especially his kids.
Oh my
my
God.
kids do now too. The whole
Really?
school found
I-
out about the
Oh,
show.
wow.
I can't even walk I'm sorry to detract from your story. I can't even walk through the quad now without kids coming up to me. I like your podcast, mister.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
What?
Yeah.
It's wild, dude.
Y'all
So
celebrities.
it showed up on the For You page. So the kids just this week started seeing it, and I told some girl, I don't have a bald spot, I don't think, but some girl goes, Mr. Jones, you have a bald spot.
Kids that do that.
And then I did a TikTok. I would go, what I wanted to say was, I can go to Turkey and get a brain or a hair transplant, but you'll never be able to get a brain transplant. You're so
Ah,
I didn't say that,
it's-
but I made a video about that. And then,
The actual kid saw it.
well, one of the kids was like, you'll never be able to get a brain transplant, and came up to me and said that. And then I was like,
so you gotta watch what you say on here.
Yeah.
but here's the thing, like the girl doesn't have anything wrong with her. There's nothing
I
wrong
know what
with
you
her.
mean,
It's just
yeah.
it's just me
It's a
like
thing to say.
it's just me being like silly.
Yeah.
I would never say that about somebody who had something.
No,
going
you say it
on.
to people who don't have something going on. Yeah,
Exactly.
People actually do.
But anyways, they found out about it. Sorry to so yeah.
No, you get. I
Anyways,
was just saying I can't
proceed.
repeat. I can't repeat some of the things on here to people.
You
kids
can
say
spell
some-
it.
These kids say hilarious things.
They do.
Because working in the school is one thing. These is like street kids.
Street
so
kid. I thank you. That's
Dude,
the word I was
They
looking
talking
for.
crazy.
Just say
They-
one
they-
thing.
they-
that they
they-
The
say.
other day, I was
PG-13.
I was at work,
Just-
right? This kid he's a younger kid, this high school
Uh-huh.
age kids, right? He must have been, I think he like 13, 14. So he on the couch watching TV. It's kind of like a house living room setting.
Okay.
I said something to him. I asked him to do something. And he goes, shut up, nigga, before I beat my meat in front of you.
Whoa.
That's a weird threat, man. I just laughed and walked away. I was like,
Yeah. I can't imagine. That's kind of offensive. Like, yeah, how would I feel?
Was he black? Was he
He was a black
white?
kid.
Okay.
You got to specify because Mexican kids say
No,
no,
black
dude.
kids.
No,
I
only
teach
a
at
bla-
Hispanic school. They say the N word like crazy.
But only a black dude would say that. I think that's
Shut up,
a
nigga, before I
beat my meat in front of you. Wow.
Why is that?
That's
why-
the
why
most
don't
alpha thing.
That is.
That's oddly
Yeah,
alpha.
That's super aggressive.
Beyond-
That means he don't care nothing about you.
You don't care.
That
nothing.
sounds like a
don't-
self-help
it's
book
so
for incels
disrespectful.
beyond alpha.
This kid, he has a chronic. He has issues with masturbation. He always talking about beating his meat all the time. So one day he was in his room. I think he was getting it in.
he?
I think he like 13, 12, but like above what the average kid may do that. Like I think he got like
He did it early, yeah.
pathology. So
Well,
he-
yeah.
One day
I mean,
he was leaning out his room with no shirt. He was like, "Hey nigga, you want to see my meat?"
That's
I was like, "Nah, man, I'm cool. We stay in there."
No,
man.
just
no, I'm good. I don't want to
just
see your meat.
like, bro.
I ask myself if I was that age, would I say that to a older person? You want to
No,
see my
you
meat?
wouldn't.
I would
No,
never
you
say
wouldn't.
that.
Well, you know what's
But these ain't your average kids.
Yeah,
though.
yeah, yeah.
This is a specific.
yeah.
population.
No, clearly, dude.
Yeah,
That's
this
wild.
ain't-
That's
yeah.
wild kids.
But you know what though, man? The stuff that you see as a teacher or even after school, it's different, but it's still not that different. Like I haven't really seen anything, but it's like 6 degrees of separation. I hear stuff on campus, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I'm teaching at. And I obviously can't get into anything personal stories, but it's like, it's just the school system itself is so crazy. Have you experienced anything crazy as a sub?
You know, man, surprisingly, in the 2.5 years I've been doing it, nothing too crazy, especially compared to working at the group home.
I was going to say, you must always just be comparing whatever you see
Yeah.
to the group home.
To
so
that.
that just seems like, yeah.
Between doing stand up and working with the kids that I've been working with,
Mm-hmm.
subbing was an easy transition. I wasn't even on the first day. I wasn't nervous. I'm like, bro, compared to
It's
what I've seen and
easy.
dealt with,
Yes.
this ain't nothing.
Subbing
know?
is fun because they just shine the bat light and you accept the mission.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. You
That's
just
what it
go
is.
and-
But you do your group home is like when people get out of jail. This is how they. What's the thing when you got to go to the halfway house?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's called placement. is the
Yeah,
proper-
yours is like that for kids. That's the same thing almost, right? Would you say before they
Yeah.
go back to their families or
Before they get
just
back, it's like so it's
civilization.
therapy,
yeah.
drug therapy, and rehabilitation, group therapy, just getting them right so that when they get back out, they don't mess up again, which most of them do.
Yeah.
But some of them don't. So trying to steer them away from the life.
So yours is the first non-jail face that they see.
Well, after, right?
What you mean?
You were the first non-jail face that they see, meaning like they've been in this rehabilitation thing.
Well, they said
and then you're the
somebody
first.
interviews them to see if they write for the placement, and then from the interview they bring him there. And then if I'm around, I'll be one of the first faces.
You're not.
Sometimes I pick kids up from the halls. I pick them up.
I was gonna say
Right.
you're actually. It sounds like it's kids that have gone to like juvenile hall or jail of some sort, right? But they're coming back out and getting back into the world.
to this place first.
Yeah. So
come out.
you are in a sense that first non-jail person that they're having real contact with before the real world.
Yeah.
Because man, God, dude, I God bless you for doing that. And then
Seriously.
you probably see some kids where you're like, yo, I think this kid, you must go, man, this kid, I think he can make it. And then other kids, you're like, good luck.
I'm like, this kid is done.
Yeah.
You're like, there's no help. There's no help for this kid. There's no help.
I mean, there is, but it's like outside divine help of God.
Divine help.
No, seriously, because I do believe that's a thing. But it's like he's beyond human help.
Beyond, man. And a lot of these
Yeah.
kids, man, like I said, it's not all of them, man. And I've been doing that for a while, so I've seen like different eras of kids.
What about the kid
dressing
who
different,
says
different
yeah.
music? And I
Yeah.
feel like kids, I feel like a lot of them they just turn it into burnouts. A lot of them, especially with the drugs.
Well,
they
if you
now,
do
they all
drugs
popping
too
pills
young,
and-
dude.
and
If I
been crazy, and
if you eat sweet tarts too young, it does something to you.
a
So
lot of
it's
these
like
kids
it's
is
like
burnouts, man. Like,
yeah.
bro,
They start doing stuff early before their brain
a lot of
start
these kids are
developing.
just done- they're just done early.
Do you ever get annoyed in that? Because you're a very chill guy. I don't think I've ever seen you mad. I've known you
People
for
tell me that all the time.
for 15 years. I don't think I've ever seen you like flip a switch.
Mm-hmm.
But do you ever do that? Like, is there ever just a day where you're like tired and some kid, like the kid, he's like, "Hey, you want to come here and see something cool?" Like, do you ever just be like, "No"?
I've had moments.
Sorry, I didn't mean to scream in the
I've had moments, but I always catch myself real quick. You know what I'm saying? So I've never had like a whole breakdown.
A whole meltdown.
Yeah. But I will say every night. I will say something outside of myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
I
will
can-
say something outside.
I can
of myself
see it on
a
your
little
face
bit.
as you're reliving it. You're like,
Yeah, I get a little outside of myself, and then I catch myself when it gets too bad. But I've seen staff have complete breakdowns with kids.
And
They just lose it.
and it's weird because like there's having that breakdown or flipping out or whatever that actually emboldens the kid because now they kind
Sometimes.
of
Got
want
him.
him. Yeah, they want
yeah,
it.
sometimes-
absolutely.
Mission accomplished.
They want
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but not always. Sometimes it's weird. Like, it's like a jolt to the nervous system. There have been times where my classes have gotten so crazy that I've had to yell,
Oh yeah.
and
Mhm.
it does bring them back. They're like, for a short time, it's not a solution though. It doesn't, but it's just if it gets too out of control and it's kids standing on the cabinets or whatever, like I have to be like,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
what's been for you like one of the have you actually ever met a kid, you're working with them, around them and all that, and then you see them later on and they've actually kind of really turned a corner? So you get to see like someone, do you ever
Yeah.
it's like
have
Will
that?
Smith in The
Yeah,
Pursuit of
yeah.
Happiness. He's like,
I've been doing. Man, I've been doing it so long. But yeah, I've seen some kids doing well. Some kids, they got a job working somewhere. The relationship is better with their families.
Mm.
I saw a kid working at Pizza Rev at the Burbank Town Center.
You're like, did you ask?
And
Be
the funny
like,
thing is,
good to
hook
see you,
up.
but can someone else make my pizza?
yeah, no, it's kind of embarrassing actually. He was working at Pizza Rev.
Uh-huh.
I was doing like DoorDash or something.
You know what you doing?
I was
Yeah.
picking up
You
food.
gave him
I'm
like these
hey.
amazing speeches. You can be anything you want in life, and it's like, yeah, DoorDash for Frank.
Yeah, man. But he was working, and he seemed like he wasn't getting into trouble and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I mean,
No.
for sometimes when you are in such a bad place, just the ability to hold down a job is an insane feat.
we got a kid right now, man.
You
This
know?
dude, he at UCLA. He's
Really?
doing real well. He from he had a jacked up background, man. And,
But he's smart though.
But sometimes you get these kids. Sometimes you be certain kids, man. Yo, this kid is smart. He just got that. Some of that BS on him. If he can get some of that BS off him,
He
he'd
gonna
be
be
good.
straight.
Yeah,
Some kids you see it. Okay, he a little sharper than the other kids.
there's
You
some
gotta stop
kids.
gang banging.
Yeah. It's like you got to stop slashing your principal's tires. but, you are an
but
intelligent
you see
kid.
it. Okay, this kid is a little smarter. This kid's a little more advanced. He's a little sharper.
Yeah,
Well,
You know,
a
and
question
this is
for-
one of those kids.
Uh-huh.
He was always, you know, he would get in trouble, but he was always a little sharper than the other kids.
Yeah.
A little more
Yeah.
cerebral. So now
I actually love those kids.
yeah, he at
Yeah.
UCLA
I love
now.
smart kids.
So he's doing well.
I like those
Wow.
kids. Do you think most of the time you think it's how they grew up, or you think it's a lot of times the family life?
Man, I don't know, man. Who knows? I don't know if it's like, you know, maybe a certain influence that's around them, or if they just naturally got something somehow that other
Yeah.
kids ain't got. If they just blessed, I don't know. I don't know what that thing is.
Well, it's
You know?
weird because it's like, you know, we talk about this a lot on the podcast. It's like a lot of times because you see all the stuff, you know, at the parent teacher conferences and stuff, we always talk about, like, it always goes back to the parents, which is largely true. But there are some of those kids that are anomalies that have a terrible home life, but then they're just so smart. You can kind of tell they're sort of raising themselves, and they're still not fully okay, but they're kind of like figuring it out.
You got a
It's
chance.
almost
You can-
yeah, because you're like, dude, this kid's so smart. Like
Yeah.
they're figuring something out.
And to that
on their
point,
own,
I've
you
always
know?
felt that those. Do you remember how like going into like some of the really rough schools as a sub, and people like acting like you're a hero for being there? I go, to me, the hero is that kid that you're talking about, right? That's sharp, that's growing up in a terrible situation and gets out
yeah.
because everything is working against you.
Yeah,
you know?
100%.
But a
Yeah,
lot of times that's hard because you're young. You can't get out.
Yeah.
You're stuck
Yeah.
in the situation until you become like maybe a teenager and you become a young adult. Then you could get out. But if you stay in your family, you just grow up in that situation that you're a part of.
Uh-huh.
And you have to
Treacherous.
be a part of that life, or just be able to survive in that life though. Or you're
yeah.
just stuck.
It's like the walls have jello on them.
Yeah.
You try
I
to
say this
climb
though,
over.
man. Between obviously subbing, I don't know as much about the kids' background, but with the group home, and I'm sure the same applies, man. Like, as terrible as these kids are, as disrespectful as they are, as bad as they are, when you read their files and look at their background, you be like, "Oh, that makes sense."
Yeah.
100%, dude.
100%.
You see how their parents are. You see where
Yeah.
you see where they from. You see their
Yeah.
upbringing. You be like, "Oh, well, yeah."
Well, dude, there's a
He
thing.
still sucks, but that makes sense.
Yeah, there's a thing. There's a thing in acting called
Yeah.
like justifying the character. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like what you
Mhm.
know about like
Yeah.
every character that you play, you don't play him as like, oh,
You
I'm
don't
a
judge
bad
it.
guy.
You
You
don't judge it.
justify it.
Yeah.
If you're playing Jeffrey Dahmer, you justify
Gotta
that
understand it,
character,
yeah.
Yeah.
and you understand it. And it's like people do that all the time in life. Like people, why are you being so rude today? Well, I am super stressed. Somebody cut me off. Somebody slashed my tires. Somebody did this. And I'm sorry that I blew up on you. We were just talking about this on the way over.
Yep.
And you almost forgive people when they tell you why they're having a bad day because of all the stuff that they happen. Like if they snap a little bit, hey, I'm sorry that I snapped. And so it's like, it's kind of like that with kids. Like they're acting that way because,
Mhm.
you know, if something is going on.
Yeah.
On the other hand, though, too, there's also the flip side of that to where we always like, well, something awful is happening to them. And it's like, or they just,
Or maybe
you
they're
know,
just
an
sitting at home
annoying
playing
kid.
video games and,
Yeah.
you know.
you know,
Do you think? Question for you: do you think it's hard for you to connect some kids you understand your background, you understand what you went through, you understand what they might have been through?
Uh-huh.
Do you think it's easy for you to connect because you understand their background?
The kids at the group home.
Yeah,
you
group
know what
home.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yes and no. It's like, and don't get me wrong, you get training on how to like interact with kids and stuff like that. But to this day, like every staff is different. Every staff is different. They got their strengths.
yeah.
And there's certain types of kids that I'm just not good with. There's certain types of kids where I'm just like,
It's not gonna work.
I ain't the one for this dude.
I try my best.
Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna be present, I'm gonna do
Yeah.
my job, but I ain't the one for this dude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Like, you know
got
what I
you.
mean? But other staff are, you know, connect to it
Right.
better.
Can you
just
give a
can't
good
crack the code.
example of like something maybe to that about like when you're like, oh, there's certain like, is it behaviors or how they're interacting with you? You're like, this is going to be tough, but I think somebody else has got this better.
Well, it's
Why?
like-
Why not?
like, what are your
It's
what are your
Because
strengths?
like, okay, how can I say this? Man, when it comes to like, because a lot of these kids, because of where they come from, man, everything is like, everything about them is just real toxic and negative. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything is real toxic and negative.
And the face
And
that
I
you're
don't
making, even.
and
I don't
it-
respond to that.
That's their
Well,
mindset.
I'm not offended by it. I don't care. I'm not offended by it. You know what I'm saying? I'm trained not to be offended by it. But just the way they talk to each other, the way they communicate, all the music they listen to, everything's just dark
I know what you're talking
and
about.
negative. And even how they talk to you, it's just like, even how they talk to each other, how they talk to people, that's how they communicate. It's just negative.
It's low.
It's just low. It's real low vibration.
Yes,
It's just real low.
Right.
It's just real. Everything is just real. It's just real low.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Low frequency.
Real low frequency. You know what I mean? And I just like when I'm talking and interacting with people or kids like that, I just like, man, I ain't got nothing for this right now.
Like I don't have the patience for this. I can't deal with this kid. It's just too much.
Man,
Yeah.
So it's just hard.
Yeah.
Man. But it's not black and white. It is some kids like that who I will have some kind of connection with. You know what I mean?
Dude, do you ever just meet like a kid that's like, maybe he's really negative, but you have like a patience for him because like, as we're all comics, like he's just really funny. And you're like, dude,
If
he's
funny,
so funny that it's like you just
like,
get a
yeah,
pass.
you kinda,
If you
yeah.
funny-
Comedy gives you a pass for a lot of stuff.
if you funny or you got like some kind of sharpness to you,
You got
like if it's something that separates you,
Those
Yep.
are my favorite
I'm
kids.
like, okay.
They were
Yeah.
writing scenes today in drama class, and it was a bunch of 8th graders, and then they were with one 6th grader, and they were like, "Mister," it's like we came up with a scene, and then there's like this little 6th grader that has like these glasses, and he was sitting with him. It's like he punched Ronald's grandpa, and that's what we're gonna do a scene about. And then it was just it's just like when kids are funny and they're not afraid to go there and be like silly and ridiculous.
oh yeah,
They make me laugh. You
Oh,
know what
yeah.
I mean?
oh yeah,
And like those are my favorite students.
oh yeah.
They're the best actors. Kids
Yeah,
are the best
But also, if
actors.
someone's funny,
Yeah.
that also means that they're smart.
Yeah, because
Smart.
you understand
you-
nuance.
yeah.
And also
Yeah.
kids who don't have like people in general, but people who don't have like a big ego. You know what I'm saying? So they can like laugh at themselves or be the loser in the
100%.
story.
Yes.
Or like it was this kid.
A lot of kids don't want to be the loser in the story
Right.
because they're so sensitive about their image.
Right. So
You know?
Depending on
it was
their
this kid-
age.
It was this kid.
Yeah.
And this kid was like, it was a, I say gangbanger or pretend gangbanger. Some kids be claiming
So how old
hoods,
is the
but not really
kid?
part
How
of
old is the
hoods.
kid?
But it was a kid.
How
he was
old is
like,
he?
This kid was like 16, but he was
Oh,
talking about,
16?
yeah,
Okay.
man. He's like, yeah, I'm paraphrasing. He's like, yeah, man, I tried playing football, but man, I don't like all that getting hit. So I stopped playing.
Yeah.
But the whole thing in football is
Just
getting
to get hit.
So this
That's
like,
funny.
no,
That's
hard
funny.
kid
Uh-huh.
tries to portray hard was like, yeah, man, I don't want to play football no more because I don't like getting hit.
Ah, that's funny.
Like I like stuff like I like that. I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
stuff
I like
yeah.
that too
Just that
because it's,
honesty.
yeah,
Just that
vulnerability.
honesty. Yeah.
Because it's kind of like, nobody can. What can you really say to somebody who's vulnerable and opens up their guts? It's like,
Yeah.
hey, I have this issue, and then
Yeah.
people are going to be like, yeah, you got that issue, and try to like make it. It endears you to the person.
Yeah. So
So it's interesting.
stuff like that.
But you're doing a long-term sub now.
Yeah,
You're-
I'm doing a long-term gig.
So for those who don't know what long-term subbing is, it's basically Chris could probably explain it better.
Oh
than
yeah,
I.
it's really simple. It's when they ask you to stay for an extended period of time in a subject that may have nothing to do with whatever you majored in, right? And you just
Mhm.
take the gig because you're like, I need that solid money, And on top of
It's
it,
consistent.
once you hit a certain number of days, you're with.
I'm with an agency. I do charter schools.
Okay.
I'm with
So
school,
I don't
yeah.
know if they give you extra once you hit a certain number of days in a classroom, but at some school districts you get a bump in pay per day once you hit like 20 or 30
like a real
consecutive days.
teacher pay or something.
Like a low end teacher pay once you get into that, but really low end, like an intern.
I get, I get heightened pay for the long term, but I don't. I guess the people I work with, I didn't get that boost you talking about. But I
Okay.
do have a general getting paid more because I'm long term.
You're not employed
So-
with LAUSD.
Not at the moment, no.
Okay.
So
gotcha.
when it's long term, is that because somebody got hurt? The real teacher got
It's a
hurt.
vacancy. It could be anything. A teacher got pregnant, so she on leave, or a teacher got hurt, or
house
just
burned down, whatever.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just whatever reason a teacher is not here for this class for an extended period of time, they need a sub to fill it.
Oh, that's dope. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
probably
cool.
had. I mean, you never had a sub for like a long time.
Yeah,
as a
yeah, for
kid?
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
dude. I
Okay,
remember
gotcha.
we had one, Mr. Sloan, whenever I was in
Yeah.
8th grade, and we like destroyed Miss Murrah's classroom. And she came back and she was like, "My stapler is broken." She goes, "My doorknob is broken," and
Oh,
she was
man.
like doing that. And then at the time, I was like, "Why is she gonna be so lame? Mr. Sloan's awesome." And now, like, I'm a teacher. I'm like, I totally get it.
Oh, it's come
you know?
full back.
It's come
full
full
circle,
back to where I'm
full
like-
circle to you.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's so funny. But like you're doing middle school right now.
I'm doing 8th grade. Yep, 8th grade PE.
Oh,
grade is-
PE.
PE is
Yeah.
so much fun.
Woo!
You
Who's
know what
the
I
big
like
winner
about-
for long term sub?
Yeah, it's
That's
been,
the big
it's
winner.
been easy. Like I said, I'm still
The
burnt
jocks
because
of
it's
teachers.
still getting up and driving to school every day and going to work every
Where
day.
you doing
dealing
it?
with
One more
kids.
time.
But relatively compared to what it could be, it's been pretty. I can't complain. It's been pretty easy.
Right. And the cool thing too about like PE is like everything in education changes as the years go by. PE, it's still those toxic jocks from like the 1970s in the short shorts, blowing the whistle, screaming at kids about their body weight. Yep. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're not
I can't
fast
say that about
enough.
kids' body weight.
No, of course not. But I'm being facetious.
I know you're joking.
But the thing is like it's that old school teacher thing. Because dude, the teachers at our school, they scream like while the kids are running laps and stuff. The teachers at every school, like it's the one piece of education that's like a time capsule. It doesn't change.
It's the same, yeah.
You know. So what do you do like when the kids are like? Have you like gotten broken in yet to where you're like, hey, run faster, or are you like just kind of like keep going?
Bro,
you don't care.
I mean, hey man. Hey, it's your grade, man. You should be running, but all right.
Do you say that to him, or is that just your mentality?
I'm saying that paraphrasing. Yeah, I got. Yeah.
So, are you putting in grades?
But here's the thing. I nudge the kids to do what they're supposed to do. Here's the thing, man. I'm trying to get you to do what you're supposed to do as much as I can without stressing myself out. So as soon as it hits stress, it's your life. It's your grade.
That's the reason why teaching regularly becomes stressful, because you almost have to like hold these kids to like an accountability, and you have to become like a motivational speaker because your admin starts to be like, hey, why is this person on their computer? It's like, I don't want to fight with this kid while he's playing Roblox right now. Like, just get off of it, Jerry. You know,
we can get back to PE, but I did a long-term last semester, and I was like deeper in the system because at this particular school, they didn't give me an email. I'm not in no chats, right? I'm just putting grades in, so I'm not as deep. Last year, I was deeper in the system, and I was like, hey, man, this is too much. I was like, bro.
Yeah.
Because like on top of dealing with the kids.
You have to do IEPs?
Huh?
You have to do IEPs?
No.
As a PE teacher?
There's an adaptive PE teacher usually.
Okay. Last year, I did it long term, and I was like, I had an email. I was in the system, and it's like, all right, Chris, Mr. Gardner, need these grades by this date. Oh, we got this going on over here. You got to put names in for this. We got this going on over here. You got to do this and put names in. Like that. I got to do all this extra stuff. On top, the kids is enough.
Yes.
The kids is enough.
That's what burns teachers out.
The kids are enough.
The kids are
but
enough.
It's all these other deadlines I got where I got to do all this other extra stuff. Like,
I know.
Minty, like, why? I have a 2-part question. Being a PE, because I think I put a post about kids being really unhealthy and not athletic. They get tired super fast. So you as a PE, do you like, what do you do as a PE? Like someone that doesn't understand what a PE does, do you create programs for them, or they give you a curriculum of what to do?
Well, here's the thing.
And the second question is this: how do you push them? If they work harder, do you give a better grade? If they push, further than what they could do, or what?
Every situation, all these schools are different but the same. But every school, the culture is different. The programs is a little different. So at this particular school, I'm working with another PE teacher. He's like the lead guy. Mm-hmm. So he just lets me know everything we're doing for the day.
Oh, okay.
And that's as a teacher. Creatively, I like having ideas. As a teacher, I'm like, I don't want to have to think of nothing for myself. Okay. Just let me know what I'm supposed to do, what's allowed, what's not allowed. I don't want to be creative. I don't want to make no decisions. Nothing. Just let me know what it is. And with and I don't know if I can say his name or not. But with my the lead PE dude, he just kind of lets me know what we're doing for the day. Cool, that's what we're doing.
How old is he?
Yeah.
Huh? How old is he?
You're about the same age. I think he's like 33. We're about the same age range.
Okay,
yeah,
so he's in a series.
You're like 33.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Dude, I was in a similar situation years ago with like a long term with PE, and they would just tell me like what we're doing. And I go, oh, this is easy. Cool. The only thing I had to worry about, honestly, lots of sunscreen. That's the only thing where I'm like, God, I could never get enough.
Dude, I would love to be a PE teacher. I thought drama was going to be so much fun because I'm like, I was telling him, I was like, I think it feels like I'm going to be an acting teacher. But like I was telling him before the podcast, I'm like, dude, if I can just get a kid with pudding on his face to like act like a cat, like that's the extent of acting that I'm teaching. Because there's so many kids in the class. It's really hard to, I'm putting out fires trying to get them. Yeah. So it's like PE just sounds like so much fun, but I don't want to go through all that training and education to become that. But it just sounds way more fun.
Because it's like, because it's a lot of behaviors you have to deal with because they outside playing.
100%, dude.
Because you get some of these same kids
it's still classroom management.
Outside,
it's like,
all
like
that,
the
all that
yard
hyper middle
management.
school energy they doing inside the
Jumping
classroom.
up and
They go
down.
outside and throw the football around and you know.
But what do
play.
you really manage? Because that's like what they should. Middle schoolers should just have like one intellectual class, and then they should just be running the whole day. That's it. They should literally just have to like be. That's what they should be doing.
Yeah, man.
So what happens? Like they go too close to the highway, and you're like, get back here.
What if we doing PE?
No, I'm saying because you're like, I have to watch them. Like what they get like too close to the like.
Oh, if they would like what constitutes me having to correct them?
Yes.
Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Oh, horse playing too much, playing too rough, so don't nobody get hurt.
Oh,
And
so
then you got to take them to administration. This is what happened, and you know all that stuff. So you know, sometimes you got couples. They like to sneak to the corner and try to get kind of smoochy.
Oh, do they try to do that in my class?
Yeah,
Okay,
so I try to like keep them apart, keep them couples apart.
Yeah.
Not apart, but just not getting too touchy with each
Get
other.
too touchy feely.
They try to go somewhere and kiss and stuff.
In the classroom, that's so crazy.
But
yeah, dude.
yeah, it's a for me. It's really just like, yo, man, keep y'all's hands off each other.
That's what I
Just
think is so
unnecessarily.
amazing. It's just, it really is the only subject where you get to let middle schoolers be middle schoolers.
Yeah. Because
And-
everything else you're trying to get them to act like they're 5 years older than
So
what they
if
are.
you ever went on became a full-time teacher, would you choose PE or would you go with something different? If you had to go full-time.
I don't know, man, because if I had to, because it ain't nothing I want to do teaching wise in real life.
yeah.
But if I had to, man, and I was thinking, cause like I like history, but I could be a teacher. But I like history what I learned on my own. I don't like whatever requisite they got in school. So I would probably try to find something extracurricular, man,
Okay.
that I can make fun. I
mean,
don't know what
yeah.
that would be,
That's what I'm doing.
but I would try to find something. I'll try to find
arts.
something artsy
Yeah.
or extracurricular. You know what I mean? Instead
you
of
mean
just
like
one
an
of the main
elective,
subjects.
like
An
like
elective.
like that? That's
what I
what
was
I am.
thinking of.
I'm theater, so it's
Maybe
like
I'll try to find
theater,
some kind of elective I can do. I don't know what that
band.
would be.
you know.
You know, something like that, man.
You know, in schools
I play,
now,
you know, I don't know if it's enough to be a music teacher, but I play guitar and stuff and bass and stuff like that. If I
Yeah,
could be a
I-
music teacher,
yeah.
I'd be a music teacher.
But then you also have
You
to
know?
teach them like flute and like wind
Yeah, I
instruments
can't
and
do
there's
all
stringed
that.
instruments
Yeah, I
and
can't do all that.
there's all that and like reading
Yeah.
music.
You're
Do
like,
you read
PE
music?
it is.
Yeah, I know.
Kickball. I play kickball with Cody.
Dude, I mean it. Every time I think about getting outside of the classroom, and then I look at the people that are doing like administrative stuff outside of I go, I'd rather go PE.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Because
like
the same
administration.
hours, same pay.
Yeah.
I love sports. It would be an easy transition,
Yeah.
but it's just all that sunscreen.
yeah, I do
Yeah.
PE too, just because
Me
we gotta,
too, if I
it's
could.
sports related.
It's
you know what I'm
sports,
saying?
yeah.
We do.
I'm
We
already
doing
too deep
basketball,
in.
volleyball, softball. We doing baseball. We doing the mile. That's what we've been doing. Free play. Throw a bunch of balls outside. Y'all go play.
Yeah, it's I mean I don't know because I can't speak to it because I've never done it. I've only subbed for like one day
Yeah.
in PE, but it does seem like the best. It does. It does.
It's
Easily.
it's probably the least stressful.
Now, when you were
Yeah.
growing up, do you remember actually having PE and then we had to do pull-ups?
Like climb the rope. and stuff like
We
that.
never had to climb
I
a
had-
rope.
We never
but
did,
We
but
had
it's like,
pull-ups.
you know,
I saw that.
I did pull-ups.
class.
I only saw the rope climbing in movies.
Yeah.
Same,
I-
same. And throwback.
We did the mile.
We did the mile run.
I don't
yeah.
remember doing no pull-ups, really.
Remember doing the mile run and there was a kid who'd like burn himself out in the first 30 seconds because he would start sprinting ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
And then he's like vomiting like at the 2-minute mark.
Yeah, that's it, man. I remember PE being fun.
Do the kids tease other kids like they unathletic, or they running slow? Do they get teased?
Not so much. I feel like kids kind of, at least the kids I work with,
Yeah.
if they teasing each other, they teasing each other. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? But they're not bullying some kid over
Personality
here who-
wise, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's the athletes, and there's the kids who just don't want to do nothing. They
Nothing.
just hell out of shape. And
I don't see a whole lot of bullying at our school.
Yeah,
At
I
least,
don't
I mean,
either.
I don't see it. Doesn't mean it's
yeah,
not.
unless it's low
happening,
key, real
Yeah.
low key.
but, you know.
But here's one thing I noticed though, in all my classes, I noticed like the meanest and most gossipy and drama filled classes are also the lowest performing classes.
Hmm.
You know.
there's probably a correlation between that.
In my performance, the class where it's just the most drama. It's always some drama going on. They're always arguing about something, talking about somebody, talking about this person relationship, that person relationship, and being mean and gossipy. For this particular experience, it's like the lowest performing classes.
How many
Mm.
kids do you
Yeah.
have in your PE class?
Like
per
I
class,
said, every
per
school
class.
got their dome kind of system. So this particular school, the classes are based on performance, right? So
Ooh.
So for example, this school is it's like 84, 83, 82, 81. That's right. 84, 83. Those are my first 2 classes. They both got 30 something kids in them. Those are the
Only
highest
30?
performing classes. 30 something.
Dude, how are these your PE
And
classes
then
lower than mine?
My 2 last classes got like 20 something. They're smaller classes.
Dude, and to be PE and to have less than 40 kids.
That's crazy.
That sounds like so awesome.
He's so
look on
mad.
Matt's
Hey,
face.
why?
Dude, yeah, I'm
What's
having
happened
like
to me?
That exists.
Do you have TAs or no?
no, dude.
You got 40 kids with no help?
No help.
You deserve a TA.
Bro, that's insane.
Have you ever
I know,
requested?
dude, and that's why I got to make this podcast.
I got
work
2 classes with.
so much because I can't do this
Have
forever.
you
They're gonna
requested a
burn me
TA?
out.
Huh?
Have you requested a TA some extra help?
No, I haven't. And the reason why I didn't
That's
really
not
know
right,
that I
bro.
could, he told me this year that I should. So here's the thing, like I'm getting credentialed, and just this whole year, I just am trying to get credentialed. I'm trying to get through the program. I'm trying to get through all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he told me you're going to see kind of what education is. He said at the beginning that when you get into education, he goes, the main job is to keep your mental health. That's what you said. And I was like, no, just to inspire the kids. You know, like that's what I thought like in my brain. And then now
Chris
I'm
been
like,
through it. He been pledged already.
No.
Yeah.
you know, yeah, he already got pledged.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Right.
you know, like dude, teaching long term at this rate, I got like a few years left in me, but we gotta make this work because that is too insane.
I have
for
no,
me.
yeah, like
Matt's
can't
in
do
his
it forever.
first year yet talks like he's in year 20.
Dude, because I feel like it made me. It's changing my personality.
Yeah, you know, I think the hardest thing
That's
is,
real.
and I know you've known this as a sub too, right? Or we all have, but constantly having to learn and remind yourself to let go and go, yo, this isn't in my control. Remember how you said, like, I'm going to push you to the point where, but if it's starting to cause me stress, then I'm done.
leave it alone, yeah.
Because there at that
I
point,
need to learn that lesson.
yeah, it's like there's nothing I can do.
But a lot of this I learned at the group home. They were trained like that. It's like a lot.
So
of
you
stuff-
learned a lot of these
But
lessons.
here's the
at
thing,
group
bro.
home.
It's like I'm not getting don't get in a power struggle with nobody. You know what I'm saying?
With kids,
Because
you
sometimes
mean?
it's like I'm the authority and you need to do this because I.
And then you drop dead because
You
been
may
doing that.
that might not be how you do it.
I
But
don't.
It's some of that
but-
in there. It's like, you know what I'm saying? They are supposed to listen to you, but it's like I'm not about to back and forth.
Waste your time.
I mean, as a teacher, you might have to do a little back and forth sometimes, but I try to minimize it to the degree that I can.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And even the group home is like, I'm not gonna power struggle with you, man. So I'm letting this is the expectation. This is what you need to do. I'm gonna ask you a couple more times. After that, man, it's on you.
Hmm.
You know?
Can you think?
No, that
I-
I'm
I-
blown away by that. That's great advice. Yeah, sorry.
Can you tell that kid can you tell a kid like, all right, this is gonna be a problem early,
In what setting? What do you mean?
that I'm not gonna go back and forth with you, this is gonna be a problem? Can you tell that kid early, just by the first couple of days, or just know off back talking to this kid, he's gonna be a problem, or you find out later?
You gotta vary. Sometimes you talking about a group home setting?
Yeah, group home. Yeah.
Sometimes you have kids, they come and they get comfortable way too fast. So they're
So,
themselves.
well, it's clearly
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the
yeah.
beginning of this podcast.
They're themselves right away. And it's like, okay, and those kids usually don't last long.
Okay.
And then some other kids, you got the honeymoon phase, where it's like, okay, this kid is cool for about a month, and then his real self start coming out. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
he might be a problem, and then you have everything in between. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
I
yeah,
think
Yeah.
that's interesting what you said about the power struggle, because, man, you guys should come in from the group home and actually teach teachers on how to deal with power struggles and stuff like that. So what did they tell you?
Yeah,
Because you
for
said
real.
because you keep referring to your training, right?
Mhm.
So like when it came to the training, is that what they taught you? Was like, hey, all you do is restate your expectation. Hey, I'm going to warn you a couple times, and then this is what's going to happen, and you just are chill with it.
it's kind of like it's levels to everything. So it's kind of like, I can't think of a specific example. If a kid's doing
Yeah.
something they're not supposed to be doing, but they're not burning the place down, you know what I mean? And it's like, this is the expectation. You know you're not supposed to be doing that. You know this is the consequence. If you continue doing it, you'll get the consequence, and you know what it is. I'm not gonna keep going back and forth with you. It's like that, you know.
You ever do it?
And if it's something worse, if kids is like, if kids become a potential harm to themselves or others,
then
that's when you gotta, you
Yep.
know, you know.
what
potentially
are
act
some
kind of
other
force,
like
but-
really because I really like that, and I think that's something that every teacher should hear, right? Of just like, you know, tell them the expectation, blah blah blah, and then you just do it, and you don't allow yourself to become in that power struggle. What are some other like cool things that they've actually taught you guys when it comes to dealing with kids?
One thing for me, I don't know if this applies to the subbing, man, but just real like, cause man, working with these kids I work with, man, just being real like non-judgmental, cause I've worked with the worst of them. You know what I'm
So
saying?
it's made you non-judgmental.
We're not judgmental, man, because all
Yeah.
these kids is coming from a place. You know, not saying you excuse disrespect and stuff like
but
that.
you understand it better because you see the background of where they come from
yeah,
a little bit
yeah,
more deeply.
yeah. I mean, dude, we don't have it no more. We had a 288 unit. Those are like the sex offenders. So a lot of times these kids done molested and maybe, you know, molested some of their sisters or family members
Oh.
and stuff like that.
been molested.
And even our been, well, they usually they was molested first and then they molested.
And then they,
But
Yeah,
even in those
yeah.
settings, it's like most people be like, "Oh my god, that's disgusting," and it is. But I don't even harbor judgment towards it at this point.
because
Yeah, I
you've
just-
been around it
I
so
work
much,
with
and
them with
it's
a
like
I work with them with a blank slate.
you've humanized because it's like bad things happen to people, and people do bad things, and
Yeah.
that's the truth that a lot of people are
Yeah.
not actually.
And it's not
comfortable with.
excusing it.
No,
but
no,
it's
no, no,
just
not excusing it. It's
understanding it, working with
it's
it,
terrible,
and trying to
it's
get you out
horrible.
of it.
But it
So-
sounds like these. The difference with this, though, is it sounds like you're talking about this is a kid that
Mhm.
this happened to.
Yeah,
So there's a little bit more, I think, grace
Yeah.
for, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like a
I think
kid,
it
you know?
it really just means, hey, making sure that to remind yourself to come from a place of patience. It's not that any behavior that they do towards you, it like you said,
It's
is
not okay.
is okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, it's like have a little bit more patience and don't hold on to things. Don't also, man, you can't expect with some of the kids, like when you see them, even in the middle school setting, after a few times, you're just like of certain things, you're like, yo, this is just what they're gonna do, and like, so all I'm really doing is just trying to put bumpers around kind of what they're doing.
And that's the thing. I think that's the thing that's so exhausting about teaching is they always have like some technical term for it. I think it's called scaffolding.
Yeah, yeah, it's
or
got
like
some term.
It's always some dumb term, but really what it is there is not a one size shoe fits all, and having to plug up the holes in different ways and like trying to, like you said, put bumpers around it is what makes, I think, the job a little bit tougher. You
Also,
know?
building rapport.
But-
you know, building rapport with kids helps a lot.
Yeah.
If you build an appropriate relationship with a kid, where it's like they don't know what you did every weekend, or you know what I'm saying, or
Of
you know what I'm
course, you
saying?
don't
But just-
overshare.
Yeah, but just building like rapport with kids, just having trying to have relationships. Good relationships with kids helps.
What's
you
the
out.
most that you deal with at
Absolutely.
a time at the group home?
What we did with teams, so it's not just me. So it's like
Okay, so
teams.
you got
Every unit
support.
got a team, so it's other staff. But the ratio was like 1 to 4, so I'm only allowed to be with 4 kids at once. But the unit I work
Yeah.
in, they have like one unit has like 8 kids maximum, and then this unit over here has like 16 kids maximum, so it'd be more staff over there.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Because, dude, I actually I love kids. It's just too many at once.
yeah,
is
I like
a
kids in
headache,
certain settings. That
Yeah.
are comfortable.
you know,
Yeah.
like, but you were dealing with like the toughest kid. Would you say you're dealing with some of the toughest kids like in society?
Toughest. I would say
Toughest. I don't mean
I
like
don't know,
tough
'cause-
as in like they're hard.
'cause
I
you don't
mean
know who
just
these-
like difficult.
you don't know who these kids really are outside of the placement yard. Some kids, they see it in the space they in and see the other kids are. They be like, "Oh, I can be the man here." So they kind of pop their chest out more, do some bullying or something like that, punk certain kids.
Try to be
But
Scarface.
in the society, when they're around we're real, hard
It's
asses,
scared. It's scared.
they not really that. So sometimes you
I
don't
see.
you don't really know what kid is which and what they really is. They just pulling weight because they can in this setting around this group,
Uh-huh.
or are they really that? Every now and you might get a kid who's really that.
It's like being the king of the goths when you're like, a kid. Like there's the cool person in your small little group,
Yeah.
or are they really the top dog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's that, Does this kid, does this kid really rep this gang like that, or he just kind of
You have kids.
affiliated and he just claim it?
Dude, that's so crazy. There's kids that do that at our school sometimes.
call them
That'll rep a gang,
Yeah,
but I'm
call
like, they're not a part of that gang.
Yeah, call them
You-
claimers.
For me, that's
Yeah.
just so hard, man, because I feel like I can help everybody. You know what I'm saying?
No, you can't.
I really
you.
felt. I mean, I know now, but a part of me, my ego, feel like I
Same.
want to help everybody, and y'all know that. Okay, I can't. It's not gonna happen.
Well, dude,
can't.
I
You
had
know what
that
I'm saying?
same thing going into.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm so stressed out. because
6
I'm-
months ago,
It's
7 months
no,
ago.
literally 7 months ago. I really felt like I could do that same thing too, and I think that's why I'm angry. Is because that's dying.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
it's killing your spirit.
It's not killing my spirit. It's killing an expectation I think that might not have been good for me. Because I think for me, I don't know about you, but mine was like rooted in codependency of trying to save everybody.
Yeah,
And
Keanu Reeves.
yeah.
yeah, I thought I wanted to help everybody, and I could see how that was hurting me. But I'm still angry because it's like it's grieving something that I feel now was not really healthy, but I'm still kind of like letting go of that. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Well, for me, I grew up that way. I was always a big brother at churches.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? So when kids had a
Yeah.
problem, I was like the big brother. I'd take them away from their situation, let them stay in my house for a second
Uh-huh.
and then let them go back in church. So it felt good to try to help kids.
Yeah.
But I was like, that was me in high school trying to do it.
yeah.
Now, as a grown up, it's a different story. You see what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? So I could understand that how it can be difficult and you got to protect yourself at the same time, especially your energy. Was it a part of you that
Yeah.
like had to not let you bring it home after you left work? Would you get so mad it frustrated you? Where like you go home and you take it home with you, and it was hard to let it go.
I would take it home. I wouldn't take it home mentally, like thinking about it. Once I leave, I'm like, once the kids is out my face, they out my face. But all that stress would physically still be up in me. I
Okay.
gotta really
Still?
the stress and the
Still?
tension. Huh?
Still?
Yeah, if I'm like not off one day necessarily, but let's say it's like the school year is going, or been dealing with some difficult kids at the group home or something like that, and it's getting every day you're just walking into that every day.
Weighs on you.
I physically leave all the stuff at work, but all that stress and tension is still in me physically.
Circulating.
My nerves is still bad.
Yeah, I got that.
You know
I
what I
can
mean?
see that, yeah.
I'm not at home thinking about that damn kid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's good.
that energy is still up in me.
Yeah.
I
You
feel
have
that.
to do so many different things for self-care when
yeah.
you're giving your energy away like that. Like you have to
so
really take
whatever
care
that
of
is,
yourself.
the vacation or
Going to a sauna.
Something
sauna
you're
or
a
beach,
hobby you're passionate
grounding.
about.
yeah. So you
working
gotta
out.
decompress. You
You
gotta
gotta
do
let it
decompress.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that's
sometimes
the
you just
thing.
need space from the place.
That's
You need
been
that
my
vacation.
tough thing this
Sometimes
year,
you just
dude.
need
Oh.
space from the place.
Dude, is I haven't had a chance to decompress because it's been going back to
Bro.
school, comedy, and teaching, and it's like I haven't had a girlfriend,
Yeah.
and it's like that decompression is so important.
Let me tell you something, man.
You
You
know?
know me. I'm generally like a
You're a
laid
chill
back
guy.
dude, and it takes
You
a
are.
while for something to really like get me.
Pick
It
up.
happens, but it takes a lot to get there.
I still haven't seen you ever.
Man,
I think.
when I did my long term last year, bro, I always heard people say my nerves is bad. My nerves is bad. I always heard that. I never thought about it. I felt my nerves being bad for the first
From a
time in my
long-term
life.
sub.
It's like a tingling under the skin.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
Yes,
Your nerves is
yes.
I didn't
Yeah.
bro. It took me 33 years to feel that.
Yes, I know
It's
exactly
like-
what you're
I'm
talking about from teaching.
I'm like, oh, this game. Okay, this is
What is this?
this is what
Yeah.
bad nerves is.
Yeah, yeah.
I had never felt the sensation before of having
Yes.
bad nerves,
Stress the fuck.
but it's
yeah.
like something poking up under your skin. You know,
and
what I
that
mean?
that came
Like,
from long-term subbing and not the group home.
I probably
It's
I
probably
had a group
cumulative.
home, but it came from I think it hit me more at the long term sub gig I had last year.
Right.
Damn, worse than what you at right now. Worse.
Yeah,
Maybe because that's your first gig.
well,
probably,
not
like
that. Well, here's the thing. Well,
Long-term-
first of all,
Group
at this
home though,
school-
4 kids at a time. So
Yeah.
long-term probably.
I've been stressed at the group home before, but I had never felt my nerves to this degree.
Uh-huh.
But this school I worked, and first of all, it's not a bad school. It's not a bad school. It's just a situation. I don't want to diss the school.
Yeah.
But I did a long term gig, right? And of all things, it was for dance, right?
Yeah.
I have no formal dance experience, but this wasn't an
How are you
elective.
teaching it?
I'm gonna get there. This wasn't an elective where kids chose it. These kids just got put in the dance class.
Uh-huh.
80% of these kids don't want to have nothing to do with dance. Number one, and then once again, it was middle school, so they're jumping off the walls. And like I said, this time, like this year, I'm in right now. I'm not deep in the system like that. I was deep in the system. I was part of the school.
Mhm.
Right. So I was in the chats and I had certain deadlines I had to meet. And it was like, Mr. Gardner, we need you to put a kid's name in that you want to do this on top of all the other stuff you got to do. So it was all that. And I had to make my own curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a dancer.
I want to.
So-
Can you please tell me what you
And
did?
just like you, I thought it was gonna be fun. I'm like, I'm about to have fun with these kids. I had these kids dancing to "Can't Touch This" by MC Hammer. I had these kids recreate.
What age grade was it again? One more time.
Middle school.
Middle school. Okay.
I was doing 6th through 8th.
Okay.
I had these kids copy the Napoleon Dynamite dance scene. I'm like,
Ah.
I have fun with this, man. But they just didn't want to do it. And
Yes.
kids was like, and it had certain classes, man, where these kids was just wilding out, bro.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
They just wilding out. And a couple of kids that hurt themselves.
Yes.
So now they got to come talk to me about these kids hurting themselves. And a kid cut himself on some glass. We had like a mirror. You know, dance rooms have like the mirror.
Yeah, they
The kid
find.
cut himself on that.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god.
It was bleeding and stuff like that. So then the principal had to come talk to me, Chris. You know, we brought you here because we think you have, because I used to sub there all the time for day to day. So they like me. So they brought me for the long term. And it's like, we brought you in here because we think you have good classroom management and da-da-da-da. But if another kid, you know, if a kid hurts himself again, you might have to call parents. This is the first, why you threatening me already? This is the first time this happened.
Dude, that's
Yeah.
Bring that up on the second or third time.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why you
There,
already talking about?
I can walk away from this.
I can walk away from this. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, exactly. But why
Uh-huh.
why are you already coming at
Why
me
are you
like?
doing this to me?
Why are you already coming at me like? You know, Chris. You know, if another kid hurts himself, he's gonna have to call parents and might be legal stuff because kid cut himself kind of bad. But I'm
Dude.
like, bro,
But that's not your
I can't
fault.
control these
But
kids
you
like
can-
that.
you-
That's
that's
not
the
your
thing. And if
fault.
you have so many kids in your class, there were a group
Exactly.
of kids, and this is a big class. I think my second period. It was my second period. There were a group of kids. They took a kid's Chromebook because you know the kids all have Chromebooks
Yeah.
now, and they were just jumping around. And I didn't see it because I have so many kids in my class. I'm trying to teach the kids that want to learn, and in the back they're stomping it out like they're a biker gang. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just like stomping on a kid's Chromebook, and they're like, "Well, how did that happen?" I'm like, "By putting too many kids in my class. That's how that happened." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's wild. You
man.
can't
It's not
control
everything.
if
You don't have
yeah.
eyes everywhere either. That's kind of hard.
Yeah, and it's like
40 kids, dude. And I love it because I go, that's a PE class. Then you hear him, you're like, yeah, I think I got 25 or something like that.
Oh, this year's way easier than last year. Yeah, this year's easier.
Yeah,
I
it's
was stressed out last year.
but regardless, I mean, electives, I guess, are dumping grounds, you know,
Mhm.
for like, you know, so that to
Kid-
make the
and
class
kids just did not
but-
care. They didn't want to dance. They just did not care. They'd be wilding out. You know, y'all know
Dude,
boys.
So okay,
Middle school boys always gonna find a way to be
oh,
stupid.
dude, they
and
want to
silly.
wrestle.
Yeah.
They
They
can't
want
keep
to
their hands
wrestle.
off of each other.
They ball up a piece of paper, start playing soccer in the room with the piece of paper. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, dude, they can't like not like
They can't
if
sit
you have a
still.
hoodie, they'll pull the kid's hoodie and then
Yeah.
just dragging him across the desk, and I'm like,
And-
guys, what's going on?
One of the
Yeah.
things that get, like I said, I'm generally cool, but one of the things that can potentially, you know, I check it generally, but one of the things that potentially on the inside get me steaming,
Uh-huh.
more so than like disrespect, is dismissiveness. When a
Yeah.
kid dismiss you, I blow you
You're
off.
trying to tell him to stop doing
Like,
something. And
yeah. When they
100%.
dismiss you,
like
And they
whatever.
dismiss you.
Yeah, whatever.
That's what, like-
that's painful.
you know, I don't lose it, but that's what
yeah, it irks you.
burned me up a little.
But so
bit.
okay, so you did this long-term sub with the dancing and everything. What did you do when they didn't want to do it? Like, did you just keep trying to be motivational speaker? Like, how did you handle that for the how long was the gig? Like 2 months?
it was like 2-3 months.
2-3 months. How did you continue to handle that when you were
What
going
happened
in
was
there
all the
every day?
kids started failing dance class.
You just
And they
started
started running
failing.
up to me at the end of the semester. Oh, Mr. Carter, I'm gonna get my grade up. That whole
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Were you dancing in the classroom though with them?
a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
A little bit, yeah. If I had them do something, I would
You-
do it with
you
So
them.
do
did you
it,
just get
okay.
to a point though where you were like, okay, we don't have to do anything today? Zero.
Yeah, kids didn't participate. I was just failing. They wasn't doing assignments.
That's
and
what I do.
and I would try to work with them. I was like, hey, if you don't want to dance, all right, cool. I'll make it easy for you. Just do this little writing assignment. Do this little report
That's
on
what
the
I
dance.
do. That's what I do.
Right? Do that. But they wouldn't even do that.
I
Yeah,
know.
that's
You know?
why I'm laughing because I knew
Yeah,
he did
that's
that
what
and
I
he goes, they won't write anything. I go, yeah, because they
Don't
won't
do
even do
nothing.
the
They don't do nothing.
theater.
Dude, I had somebody, he was like, I don't want to go up and do a scene. I was like, why not? He's like, just don't want to go up and do it. And I was like, okay. And he knows how to write. Like, he knows how to write a sentence. But I go, okay, so you write 5 sentences. I want you to write a monologue. And then I go, a monologue is just say 5 things about yourself if you're the character. So if you're Rat Boy, or he came up with some superhero, I go, right, like if you're, you know, Tamagotchi man, whatever, like write 5 sentences from first person perspective. And then he was like, okay, cool. So he was stuck on one sentence for like a day. And then I was like,
For a day.
for a day,
God.
literally. And then he came back the next day and he goes, can you give me till tomorrow to do it? And I go, all you have to write is 4 more sentences. I run, I play, I throw a ball at bad guys. Like I was making it so easy for him.
Yeah.
He'd be like, and I was just like, dude, this job is stressing
Why are
me
you making it
out.
so hard, Mr. Jones?
Yeah, and then you also have like 7, 8 other kids being like,
doing something else.
Mister, I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it. And you're like, "Ah!" Like you just start to
Man,
lose it.
I had
Dude.
this 6th grade kid when I was in dance class. He was like, man, I'm not gonna say his name, but he was you know what an Edgar is, right?
Oh, yeah, the
cut.
Edgar
Yeah,
haircut.
he was an Edgar, man.
Oh, as soon as you see that haircut,
As soon as you see
that haircut, you're like, my
black,
class is
black,
damn.
all black Air Force Ones. You're like, oh,
You're like, oh
Oh,
shit, this
was
class is going off the
a-
rails.
This kid
Yeah.
was a menace, man. I kicked him out of
Yeah,
class
always.
multiple times. I
Always.
tried to call this
That haircut
dude's-
possesses them.
Yeah, man.
It's weird.
I tried to call this dude's his mom or his sister. I tried to call him in class, but they didn't make the phone.
Yeah, I've done that before. I call them in
Bro,
class too.
They wouldn't pick
Man,
up the phone.
This Edgar kid, man. I remember this 6th grade Edgar kid, man, bro. He was just running amok around class, just running amok, messing with people, screaming, yelling, starting gossip, making girls cry. Like, bro, I kicked him out of class multiple times. It was to the point where, because you meet kids where they at. So if it was the day where I just didn't have to kick him out of class, it was like, hey man, I tried to motivate. Hey man, you did good today, man. Good job. I didn't kick you out of class today, man. You just meet them where they
The
at.
bar
I
is
try
so
to, I try to
low.
give him some extra points, just for me not having to kick him out or me not having to address him too many times. But the very next day, he on the same.
Same thing.
on the
now
same-
was
It's
he
no-
ever?
it's no
Now
help.
was he ever absent?
Oh, God.
Never. They're never absent.
No, he had a couple of days.
A couple.
What
That's it.
were those like?
It's like when certain kids is absent, immediately when that class comes in, you're like, something's different today.
I know.
You're like, dude. You're like, I feel the Holy
What's
Spirit.
going on?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it's just,
You're like, something's different today.
That's crazy.
Jose's not here.
I had 2 kids absent that caused problems in 2 different classes.
Ooh, two?
And it was amazing. At one point, I go, you could pin drop because they destroy everything around them.
Yeah. Like a tornado.
There literally are kids that like, dude, my 2nd period and 6th period, they do this weird thing where they try to come into the class and they try to like rearrange the desks. They'll be like sitting down and like, "Urgh." And I'm like, no, we are not doing that today. But they have to like move stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is not like feng shui
Bro,
class. Like,
stop,
why
bro.
are you just
Just
stop
stop.
moving my stuff? Like, it's
Y'all deal with
Hey,
a lot. Y'all deal with a lot.
You ever had one of those
It's-
days where you just like, okay, I don't feel like carrying right now. So if they're not doing something terrible, I'm gonna go ignore it.
dude.
But they start snitching on each other. Like, Katie, why are you on playing that game? We're not supposed to be playing that game. Man, I'm not trying to care right now, man. But you make me have to say stuff.
Yeah.
That's when
yeah.
admin walks in when you're just like, okay, I just need to sit down and take a break. That's like when your admin walks in and starts walking around and you're like, I swear I really am teaching. Like, I promise I'm really, you don't say that, but it's like, you're like, but yeah, they always walk in as soon as I'm like, and I like sit down.
What do they walk in to watch you to see what you're doing?
They walk in and it's usually some kind of an announcement thing about the yonder pouches or something that happened maybe the other day, but they just walk in.
Mhm.
They don't say. They just walk in, and it's usually like when I sit down. And I've liked my admin all year, but I've noticed at the end of the year they've started walking in my class more.
Okay.
And I think the reason why is because a kid got punched just recently. It was in the stomach
In your class.
in my class, yes.
Okay.
And it's like they also put kids that act up universally in all their classes in my class too. So I got
Okay.
a lot
Of
of
course.
troublemakers.
Oh man.
wow.
Because it's drama, But
Yeah,
yeah, like I got a lot of. I like the kid who acts up in there. He's fun because he makes me laugh. He's funny. He's actually smart. But he punched a kid. Another kid got his laptop smashed, and then apparently the other day, another kid was like, "Hey, my admin talked to me, and they're like, they said it happened during your 2nd period." I go, I didn't see anybody smash a laptop. I feel like I would have seen that, but I didn't see the first one when they were like stomping it out like a biker gang.
Bro, that's
And some
crazy.
kid got it on tape because I guess he pulled out his phone
Oh,
and
really?
started taping it. And he's like,
Watch. Then it pans to you, and it's you
And
sitting.
then-
Wow.
You sitting at your desk.
me sitting at my
Oh.
desk, literally with like cartoon birds
just
flying
doing,
around my head.
just
Just
burnt.
with my head back like
Yeah.
that. And it's like, Oh my gosh, dude. But yeah, I just
That face, bro. That face you just did. I always told myself, you ever see somebody like, not saying y'all hate y'all's jobs, but either
No, we do.
somebody's job or a moment. But you ever see somebody hating their job? You ever see like a security guard bored to death, that dead look on their face?
yeah, he just wishes that it would get robbed.
Just done.
Ralph's would get robbed.
I be feeling that face on my face sometimes when I feel like that. When I'm like depleted at the end of the day, you just like,
Yeah. You know, it's
but you gotta keep going. Like you depleted, you're done.
But you have to keep
But
going.
you gotta keep going.
You gotta keep your
'Cause
head
then-
up. You gotta fake it.
Yeah,
You gotta fake
bro.
it.
Yeah.
Because then if you lose your job, you'll be money depleted. And that will
Yeah,
be that
yeah,
face. I've been so broke before I would like just start randomly screaming. You know?
I can see Matt
you,
doing that.
you told me one time, I was like,
Can I
I
tell
was
it?
so broke. Yeah, and you go, you in your Chris Gardner voice, you're like, that shit is low key traumatizing.
It is traumatizing.
And
It's trauma,
like,
bro.
I was like,
we ain't
I
that
was-
broke. It's trauma. Like we ain't that broke.
Yeah.
I was
When you
telling.
can't
Can I tell
afford
the story? I was
Oh
telling
yeah, the COVID thing.
So my for a minute during COVID, my brother
Yeah.
he had a couple COVID testing stands, right? So we would be there testing people. You know, you get paid for those, for having those stands. So I hooked Matt up with a job and stuff like that with it, right? So you know, I wasn't
many random
wasn't
jobs.
spying on his phone, you know, like that. But he just happened to have his bank account up. I saw his phone, so he had 2 cents in his account. I don't know why that's worse than overdraft. Something about that 2 cents. It was so broke. So he
I
put in
had-
his account. I wasn't in his business. I just happened to walk by. He was looking at his phone. He had 2 cents in his account. I was like, damn, he down bad.
Dude, but the amount of times
I've been there too. Trust me.
I've been there.
I've been
I've been
a
there
lot.
so many
Yeah.
times, dude. When you gave me the
Yeah.
job in after school
Mhm.
education, I was boarding a flight from Illinois back to LA.
I was gonna get this air
And
back on now.
you texted me and said, "Hey, I got a job for you." And it was literally after I got done praying. I was like, "I need a job." And then you're like, "Hey, I got a job for you."
Really?
And it was like, boom, you know. But dude, I've been there so many times in LA.
Me
That's why I
too.
finally took the bullet and bit the bullet and just started
Enough's
teaching.
enough.
Because I was like, you know, I need a little bit more stability while I'm doing this. And I do like teaching. I just don't like the other stuff that I got to do.
You
Comes
like
with it.
teaching. You just want it to be a more favorable thing for you in a more favorable context and space. Is that
Yeah,
kinda
I
what it
don't
is?
want to be. I don't want to be dealing with. I don't want to be 50 different things at my job. I want to teach kids how to do something, and I don't mind dealing with some bad behavior, but I don't want to be dealing with a giant classroom. I don't want to be dealing with you know, all that different stuff. And I know we got to wrap up here in a second, but you know, we all know each other from stand up, which is crazy, dude. I've known all of you guys for like 15 years.
Yeah.
Which is wild. You like all of us know each other, and now we're all working in
Experience
education.
the same thing.
Still trying to get out of. We're trying to get out of education so we can get into comedy. Well, we already are in comedy, but
Yeah.
to make that our main thing. But do you want to plug anything before you leave? Because you got a special out.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
man. Well,
Yeah.
it's a few years old now.
That's
But,
crazy. It's a few.
I got a
Years.
special out. It's called Chris Gardner shit. And yeah, it's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music. It's on YouTube's. What is it called? YouTube
Premium.
something. You got yeah. It's on YouTube Premium.
Oh, cool.
I did it through Comedy Dynamics. So yeah, it's funny. People love it. People was raving about it. Who watched it when I put it out? So
Yeah.
you can still go watch it. Just type in Chris Gardner shit, and but put an asterisk for the I though on the shit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
That's good. How long was your special?
it was 35 minutes.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
Congrats on
It was
Right.
really funny. I was there when he taped
Oh yeah, you
it.
did was
Yeah.
there.
I did a set too that
Yeah,
night.
man. It was like
That crowd was
hot.
hot.
It was good. It was really good.
Both
It
crowds.
was
He
dope.
did
really
two
good.
shows and both crowds
And the
were
comments
hot.
was coming up to me like, "Man, Chris, man, that shit." Whew. It was, so yeah, you know, watch it if you want.
Good stuff.
Sweet.
Let's get it.
Awesome.
Well, dude, I got nothing but love for you. You're one of my good friends out here, and I appreciate you, man. So let's not let these kids stress us out.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's it right there.
Good stuff, bro. Appreciate you,
We'll
man.
do a spiritual one.
In spirit.
We out. Peace.
Peace.